What is going on, my horror fans and friends? I apologize for the wait, but we are back with day 10 of my horror movie challenge, watching and reviewing a horror movie I have never seen before. Now, all I'm really going to say to open this video is that international horror is top tier. And if you haven't exposed yourself to international horror movies, make it a mission to do so ASAP. Today's movie is Martyrs, a 2008 French psychological horror film written and directed by Pascal Laugier. This film follows two young women who were victims of extreme child abuse as children, and years later they embark on a revenge quest to find the people who kidnapped and tortured them. There's really so much more to the movie and this plot, but I'm going to keep the description as minimal as possible because this is a film that takes you down a direction that you just absolutely do not see coming. This movie is so intense, and intense is an understatement. This is extremely depraved. This is by far one of the most fucked up movies I have ever seen in my life, and one of the hardest movie experiences I've ever had. Like, sitting through this film and having to watch what was being depicted on screen was truly a challenge. And while I say that, in the same breath, this film is an absolute masterpiece. Masterpiece is a word that I do not throw around very often, especially when it comes to horror movies, but this is absolutely a 5-star film, a 10 out of 10. It's directed phenomenally, especially in that first 45 minutes where it just keeps you on your toes. You have no clue which direction this film is going, but it is mastered beautifully. The sound design is wicked. The sense of dread that is built throughout this whole film, but again, especially that first 45 minutes, is so good, is so intense. And the performances from our two main leads right here are nothing short of amazing, truly heartbreaking, and you really do feel for these two main characters throughout this whole film. And while I absolutely would recommend foreign international horror films to anyone and everyone, this is one that I would not recommend to everyone just because of how dark this movie is. This is not for the faint of heart, and this is certainly not everyone's cup of tea. This movie is extremely gory. This movie is extremely graphic. This movie is mean, and it's just downright violent. The heavy themes of abuse and torture just absolutely overwhelm the last act of this movie. The things that are portrayed on the screen, the things that we are shown as viewers, is truly unfathomable. I could barely get that word out right there. This is one of the most fucked up films I have ever seen in my life, guys. Again, this film is not for everyone. This is a film that I would absolutely only recommend to downright horror fanatics, like ones that absolutely live and breathe for this genre. Fans that love international horror, fans that are willing to digest this type of content or this type of material. But if you are one of those people that I just described, one of those die-hard fans, if you are someone who just appreciates good cinema, like a very well-made horror movie from a filmmaking standpoint, I think you should definitely check this out if you haven't already. There is so much to appreciate about this movie. Now, this is a movie that I don't even think I'll watch more than 3 times in my lifetime. But there's so much to appreciate about this movie. As hard as it is to watch, this is an absolute masterpiece, and this is one of the best horror movies I have ever seen.